Hi guys, and welcome to this week's video where I wanted to talk to you about dating in a pandemic. Now, I actually keep my personal life very private from social media, as you've probably seen on Google. Hasn't always led to the best outcomes when you share the things that are personal to you online. So whilst I'm not looking to address my current dating relationship, because that's something personal to me, I would like to talk about things that I see on a very regular basis that I think has a really big impact on people, and encourage you to delve deeper into these feelings and emotions and the behaviours that we exhibit to others around us. I see a lot of unhealthy behaviour, especially being a female online with the social media presence. And if there are any nuggets of advice that I could give you to lead healthier, happier relationships, then that's something I think I'd like to share with you now. So being on social media, I get a lot of people slipping into those DMs and actually saying and doing things that are very obvious repeat signs of negative, unhealthy behaviour. One thing in particular is men approaching me in public, in DMs, by email on so many different wavelengths and levels, literally just basing everything upon looks. So it does tend to be that men will actually lead on attraction. And I'm not talking about all men, obviously, just as I can't talk from the perspective of all women. This is just my personal experiences and what I have observed and what I feel could work very differently and make a difference to how people are. So, 9 times out of 10, the majority of interactions that I personally receive are people commenting on my appearance. From men, it seems to be very complimentary and very testosterone-led. And from women, it can either be very supportive and complimentary or very hateful and critical. It seems to be one or the two with women. So when men comment and have conversations with me, I don't always respond to messages simply because I have so many, but of the interactions that I have had, people can start off by definitely being very over the top with compliments, by saying, wow, you look amazing, you're incredible, you superstar, absolutely love bombing you with affection and adoration as a way for you to then feel positive towards this person. Actually, not even a tenth of that is necessary. That is very consuming, this level of compliments, which really doesn't have to be to that extent. Following this, people seem to say, what is your type of guy? Who are you into and what do you like? And actually one person got very offended, I won't say how long ago, when I actually said what my type was. So the cliche of tall, dark and handsome seems to be what every woman writes on a piece of paper when asked, if there is such a thing. And I have noticed that being a tall girl, I do date people that are taller than me. I don't know why, it's just my preference. Everybody has a preference. There's no right or wrong, good or bad, beautiful or ugly. Everybody is unique and what we are attracted to will differ from the individual. So don't take it personally if you're not for somebody. But I do like somebody to be taller than me. I like somebody to share a very similar mindset or lifestyle, to be athletic or into fitness at least, to show that dedication, the commitment to how they live and how they put effort and enthusiasm into their life. And it has happened that, somebody that shares a very similar mindset and lifestyle to me is more understanding of the way that I live. So if you had somebody that was very introverted and they dated an extrovert, they could find it overwhelming with their behaviour. They might not understand why they do things or how they do things, and it can cause friction in a relationship. When they say sometimes opposites attract, that could be the case. But 9 times out of 10, I think when you are on a similar page and a similar wavelength in life, you have a smoother transition with somebody. So dating somebody that doesn't understand social media, that doesn't understand modelling, that doesn't understand fitness, or leads an unhealthy lifestyle when I'm all for health, it just causes obstacles in the path. Some you may be able to overcome and some may be just non-negotiable. So I do tend to gravitate more positively towards somebody that shares these common interests and understandings. Now, when you say that to somebody that has slid into your DMs, has a very different lifestyle to you, and you list all these qualities that you find attractive and they don't possess them, they can very quickly become offended. And some of the accusations that people like to say to me are, you only want somebody a 10 out of 10, good looking, rich, and a sugar daddy to provide for your lifestyle so that you don't have to work. And I could not think of something more hideous or undesirable to me. But this seems to be the misconception because I'm a woman, and because I take pride in my appearance, and because I have 2 children. So obviously I must only be looking for a really good looking guy with loads of money to pay for my children so I never have to work. I mean, if that was the case, I would go insane. I have to work. I love to work and learn. And somebody paying for me, more so than I pay for them, would make me feel inferior. It's just my personal preference. I actually would not like that, and I'm very much about equality and giving as good as I get, and meeting at that viewpoint in the middle. So nobody is giving more than they take, and nobody is taking more than they give. So yes, that's something that I'm often confronted with, because I think a lot of people look at how men and women date and they say that the man should provide for the woman. He should be the strong person, but women can be strong too. He should earn the most money, but women can earn more than men. He should be the better looking, dominant alpha male, but you can have alpha females as well. So really that kind of destroys what men think dating should be like. And for me, I see that as perfectly natural and normal. Why would I look to be submissive or inferior to somebody? Just as I'm not looking to dominate or be better than anybody else, I'm just being myself, and I expect somebody else to be themselves. So another thing that people have said to me is, well, if you look like that, you dress like that, what kind of a man are you going to attract? Well, it seems to be quite a stereotypical judgment that people make when they say, only a certain type of guy will feel attracted to you, and that's the lustful people who do not believe in faithful relationships and are only looking for a fun time. Bit of a weird thing to say to somebody, and not very nice to hear, in all honesty. I look at emotional intelligence, I look at the ability to hold a conversation, to have a meeting of minds, to feel the body, mind and soul of somebody, as opposed to this layer of skin which will only ever age, get wrinkly and drop off. So I mean, if you base your whole life on what is on the surface, you're missing the majority of what lies beneath, and that's the most important in my opinion. So, people have said to me, well, why don't you just cover up a bit, love? Why don't you hide your tattoos and dress as if you're in an office? And then a really nice guy will meet you and want to marry you and make you happy. First of all, I'm perfectly happy as I am. My life isn't lacking anything that I feel the need for somebody to come and fix a void or fill a void. Secondly, if I were to dress differently to who I am as an individual, if I were to pretend to be something I'm not, which I understand a lot of the world does do, I don't, then surely you are luring somebody in with a false promise, something that is completely fictional, and then when they see the real you, they're going to say, you've missold me, this is nothing like what you're about. Why should I try to fit a mold to please other people and what they think is acceptable or desirable in a wife? Not that I even really hold marriage in that great regard in this day and age, because there are a lot of unhappy marriages, a lot of unfaithful marriages, and a lot of people that just make do and settle for second best because they think and believe that they don't deserve any better. And to be honest, I would never ever want to be in that position. So, I'm happy to have tattoos. I'm a hot-blooded female that gets very claustrophobic. So my clothing choices might not be to everybody's liking, but they fit beautifully into my life and they make me feel comfortable and they make me feel myself. And that's what we should all do. We should all be able to be ourselves, to dress how we choose, to live how we choose, to see who we choose, to go where we choose, and to be and express our feelings in the way that we choose and can be most authentic to our genuine selves. So if you have to change your appearance, if you have to change your style, your mannerisms, your behaviours to please other people, then all you are doing is putting up a filter, a mask, and a false ideal that you cannot ultimately maintain throughout a relationship. And that's why a lot of relationships after the first honeymoon phase and period break down, because actually the people that they pretended to be, almost like actors, the roles they were playing, never existed and can't possibly exist. And you feel like you've been sold a fake fairy tale. And that leads to feelings of distrust, it leads to feelings of abandonment, of being used, of being lied to, and ultimately you carry that emotional baggage into future relationships. So yes, when people say to me, I bet you just want a good looking guy, I do think chemistry is important. I have been in relationships in the past, all long-term relationships, but where I really haven't had that desire towards somebody. I can feel that they are nice people, that they are kind, they are genuine, and that it's easy to be around them, but ultimately I do not feel that energy. And that is really important. So as I said before, this tall, dark and handsome happens to be what I like. It doesn't mean that that is the one and only rule to beauty and success, because it's not. It will be very different for each eye of the beholder. But yes, I do like tall, dark and handsome. I do like motivated. I do like opinionated people who will stand up for themselves. And even if it's against my own views, I like seeing other perspectives, other viewpoints, and not just constantly being agreed with and told that I'm right, because that in itself can be very frustrating. You want somebody who has a backbone, or at least I want somebody who has a backbone. I'm not telling you what to want, obviously that's your own opinion. But for me, yes, somebody that is strong-minded and capable and willing and adventurous in life. And that might freak somebody else out. They might say, oh my God, I want to go to work, come home, have my dinner on the table, and live in a cozy bubble of familiarity and security. I don't want somebody that's going to be jumping out of planes or randomly having a tattoo on a Wednesday. So really it's down to how you live and feel and what gels nicely with your life, where that synergy is. And you can only get that through communicating and having experiences with people and seeing different perspectives. Now, when I say experiences with people, I don't mean sleep around. I don't mean be with as many humans as possible and then feel degraded, because that in itself, again, can be very unhealthy. And I feel that that is the way that the world is becoming. That is very disposable and temporary. It's fake highs, quick fixes, and throwing it away and not answering or being responsible for your actions and behaviours. So if somebody is an asshole, then you move on to the next one. You don't actually hold them accountable to say what you are doing is wrong. And for them to acknowledge that hurt people hurt people. They go on and cause suffering to more and more people and never actually break that vicious cycle, that unhealthy, toxic reaction to how they have communications and relationships and interactions with people. So the way that I look at this, which I think is really important, is to use the analogy of a meal. Have you ever had one of those days when you are literally racing home from work and you're tired and a meeting's overrun and there's traffic and it's raining and you're just like, oh, I'm so hungry, I can't even think straight. I'm gonna go to the petrol station. I'm gonna pick up a grab and go, just get any food that they've got. You get to the shelf and there's like a curly sandwich that's been on the shelf for like 3 days. It's so disgustingly bland, but you just need food. So you go in there and you have this sandwich and you eat it and you don't enjoy it and you just scoff it down and you're like, ugh, I want to get home. And as you're driving, you're craving food that you love. You're craving taste and texture and flavor, and just it has not satisfied you at all. This sandwich is rubbish. It did the job, but left you unsatisfied. Now switch that around and you're coming home at the end of a long day, a meeting's overrun, it's raining and you're in traffic, and you know your favourite dinner in the whole world is waiting for you at home. It's on the table, it's steaming hot, you can smell it as soon as you open the door, and you race to that table and you're like, oh my God, you're salivating as you get there. And as you eat this meal, every mouthful tastes as good as the first, the second, the third, and the last. You feel immersed in this meal, and all your taste buds are just dancing. It's the nicest place to be. I love food, as you can tell. I'm actually salivating now at the thought of my favourite food. I'm gonna have to lick my lips. But at the end of it, those two experiences are very, very different. Between this grab and go sandwich, which is disposable relationships, to your favourite meal that you can't wait to come home from. And you're racing to it and you love it, and when you finish that meal you feel satisfied. You think, that was so worth waiting for, I absolutely love that and I don't need anything else. And these are the relationships that truly matter in our lives. They're very few and far between. You'll count them on one hand, whether that's through friendships or communications with people, or even relationships and love. To love 100 people is nowhere near the quality of loving one person. And it shows you what true love and true meaning and value to your life means when you compare that to these kind of temporary highs and these false relationships that we have that ultimately leave you more damaged and broken because of the negative experiences, emotions and connotations that they elicit within you. So we look at this really beautiful meal, we look at the feeling of true love, to feel like you belong, that this person understands you and you can be your whole self around them. You can take your makeup off, you can let your belly hang out when you've overeaten your dinner and adjusted your trousers. You can talk about your feelings and you can be honest with your deepest concerns, your insecurities, and also talk about your hopes and dreams, what you both want in the future, where you want to get to, where you are now, and how exciting life can be. And people forget this. They are so used to convenience, things that are disposable, things that are quick fixes, that actually that becomes normal. So they no longer miss what they don't have. And all they do is normalize and get used to what they do have. These unhealthy, temporary, damaging communications with people. And I just think all you are doing when you interact with this kind of behavior is devaluing yourself. It doesn't leave you satisfied. It doesn't leave you feeling loved and secure and confident and worthwhile as a person. It does nothing for your self-esteem. It probably fulfills temporary desires, but then after that person is gone, after that interaction is over, you are ultimately left alone with that same void that you feel, which is what they tried to fill in the first place but failed to do so. So how can we look at achieving this happiness in life? Ultimately, it needs to come from our own foundations, our morals in life, our self-respect, our self-esteem, and our self-love, for us to be able to say, I am worthy of more. I deserve more. So yes, you can take the quick fix, the person that isn't Mr. Right, but is Mr. Right now. But how will that leave you feeling afterwards? Will that ultimately be good for you? Mentally, physically, emotionally? Does that give you love and positivity? Or does it leave you feeling like you've sold yourself short? And that is very much how I view life, that you need to put 100% into what you do. Relationships, work, relaxation, every aspect of life. Give it your full attention, give it your full respect, your full time, and your full desire. Because ultimately, if you're going to do anything in life, you should do it once, so you should do it properly. You should make sure that it is the best of your ability and you will get the most out of it, because effort is equal to reward. So yes, when people say to me, you just want somebody that will put up with children or look after you financially or this or that, all of the accusations that you could say when you see a woman and you deem her perfect partner what they would be and how you measure up against that perfect partner. I think, yes, a lot of people judge a book by its cover far too soon. And if you can take anything away from this video, from these thoughts that I'm sharing with you, I hope that you can understand that genuine is the most important thing when it comes to interactions. To be yourself, to let go and have fun, to feel that the judgment of others should not shape you in any way, that you should still continue to be yourself and to express yourself and to be true to yourself. Personally, if I were to write a list on paper what I would like in life from a partner, I would say somebody that is capable of being themselves, of being as them as I am me. And when you find somebody that has that mentality, that has that innate love and positivity and drive, I think it's impossible to deny that there is that attraction there, regardless of what this bit of skin that wraps us up says. So thank you for joining me today, guys. I hope that you too can look inside yourself and look at your life goals and relationship goals and just measure how that's panning out for you. Know that quality will always be superior to quantity, and that you deserve far more than you are possibly allowing yourself to experience right now. So take care of yourself, be kind to yourself and others. Until next time, I will see you all soon.